They went on from there and passed through Galilee. He did not want anyone to know it, for he was teaching his disciples, saying to them, "The Son of Man is to be betrayed into human hands, and they will kill him, and 3 days after being killed, he will rise again." But they did not understand what he was saying, and were afraid to ask him. Then they came to Capernaum, and when he was in the house, he asked them, "What you were arguing about on the way?" But they were silent, for on the way they had argued with one another who was the greatest. He sat down, called the 12, and said to them, "Whoever wants to be first must be last of all and servant of all." Then he took a child and put it among them, and taking it in his arms, he said to them, "Whoever welcomes one such child in my name welcomes me, and whoever welcomes me welcomes not me but the one who sent me." Good morning. Welcome to a short biblical reflection on the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 9, verses 30 up to 37. It is the second prediction of the Passion of Jesus and the greatness in the kingdom. The Gospel reading for the 25th Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year B. Last Sunday we heard about the profession of faith done by St. Peter, and then Jesus' first prediction of his death and resurrection with a misunderstanding on the side of Peter. Then Jesus was using to him very strong words. Now we have also story with misunderstanding of his disciples after the second prediction. Let us go also and see biblical context. It means we'll see also the third prediction of the Passion of Jesus in the Gospel according to Mark. In chapter 10, verses 35 up to 47, we have a story about James and John that follows immediately the third prediction of Jesus concerning his death and resurrection. So John and James did not understand what he was talking about. Therefore, they are coming with this request that Jesus would grant them to sit at his right and left hand when Jesus will be in his glory. And of course, in verse 41, we hear about the reaction of the disciples who became indignant with James and John, hearing what they were asking for. And therefore, Jesus is teaching them, "You know that those who are recognized as rulers of the Gentiles lord over them, and that great men exercise authority over them. But it is not so among you. Whoever wishes to become great among you shall be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be slave of all. For even the Son of Man did not come to be servant, but to serve, and to give his life a ransom of many." Placing now those two situations in a parallel way, we can see more the striking similarity. In our passage of the Gospel, in chapter 9, the disciples were arguing about who was the greatest. In the following chapter, upon the request of James and John to be seated at the right and the left side of Jesus, the other 10 become indignant with James and John. In chapter 10, Jesus also answers in a more prolonged way, giving firstly the reason that the greatest, the rulers, make their power feel among the Gentiles. And then now, as we have very shortly in our passage of the Gospel, that whoever wants to be first must be last of all and servant of all. In the following chapter, Jesus gives like a double reason. But it is not so among you. Whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant, and whoever wishes to be first among you shall be slave of all. So in answering the following chapter, Jesus uses those two, to be the great and to be first. Why in our passage of the Gospels, disciples were discussing about who was the greatest, and Jesus now is using the category of being first. In our passage of the Gospel, Jesus gives as an example a child. Now, in the following chapter, Jesus gives as an example himself that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve, to give his life as a ransom for many. So we can see that there is misunderstanding on the side of the disciples of Jesus after all three predictions concerning Jesus' passion and resurrection. Firstly, it is represented by Saint Peter, and then it is represented by other disciples. Now, concerning our passage of the Gospel, of course, they did not understand, and also they were afraid to ask him. Therefore, Jesus now is asking them what happened, and of course, they remain silent because the division caused by arguing makes them silent. But Jesus gives an example of a child. We have to also keep in mind that in biblical times, they were not children's rights as we are now accustomed in our times talking about children's rights. Therefore, there was a common expression concerning widows and orphans as those who were the most disadvantaged people, because there was nobody who was protecting them. There was no law protecting them. So therefore, this child represents the weakest, those people who have no value and any meaning in the eyes of others, but also other qualities like simplicity, sincerity, all those virtuous qualities that we as adults probably we are losing them. We do not have them anymore or to such extent. I would like to wish you a nice day, a nice reflection on this gospel reading. God bless you.